Hi, Flick here from the Nerd Soapbox, and today we're at Son of Monsterpalooza in Burbank, California. And I'm with filmmaker Kenneth J. Hall. Hi, Kenneth.
Hey, how are you? Nice to see
I'm
you.
good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. So the Nerd Soapbox gang mostly knows you from, you're the creator of the Puppet Master franchise.
Yes. I wrote the first film, did the first draft screenplay. I have a shared story credit on that film, and that was the one and only one of those I did.
Well, I've got something to tell you here.
Okay.
I'm the master. You're the puppet.
He's a kidder.
Yeah, see what I did there? Turn it around.
Yeah, exactly.
How's your con so far?
It's very good. Very good. I mean, I love the show. It's my favorite show anywhere in the country, but especially because it's local for me. But I've been coming here ever since the beginning, which I think has been like over 10 years now.
Oh, yeah.
And now, of course, there's two of them a year with Son of Monsterpalooza. Yeah. And it's a celebration of makeup effects and movies, and actually a lot of the older stuff, which I grew up with. Although a lot of the new horrors represented here now too. So when I've been in the industry for 35 years, so when I started out in makeup effects, which I'm still involved with, and it's a celebration of that, even though there isn't as much of it as there used to be when I first started.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those things that everybody gets together. I see people, that I've known for over 30 years and so forth, and everybody just has a good time,
It's like a 3-day party with costumes.
Exactly. It really is. And as fun as a 3-day party is, it also can really wear you out.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Sunday, by the way, so yeah, it's thankfully it's going to be probably a shorter day.
Okay, so 1989.
Yes.
Puppet Master.
Yes.
Did you have any idea that that basically would spawn 10 sequels, a non-crossover with characters like Demon Toys, 2 comic books, an ongoing comic, and collector items like crazy?
No, I had no idea of that, and it's weird because I, grew up as a fan of older movies and stuff like that. The things that were special to me, and it was a few years after I'd done it, and I was at some actors thing in Hollywood where I was one of a guest along with some actors and other people, and it was the first time some of the young actors there came up to me and said, "Oh my God, I was such a fan of Puppet Master," and I was like, "What? Really?"
Yeah.
And it was. And it's been amazing, now all these years later, that film is probably the most recognized one I did, but there's a lot of other stuff I did too that amazingly has a cult following, that people, want to come and talk about it. I hate using the word fans as far as saying my fans,
right.
But at the same time, I mean, social media, originally MySpace and now Facebook, allows a lot of people to reach out, even though I have websites and so forth people, but they assume I'm some big corporation and they're going to have to go through all these other people just to get to me, which is not the case. But people are a little easier, more relaxed about contacting me on social media and so forth. And I love it. I really appreciate the fact that people still remember and like some of the stuff I did, not just Puppet Master.
All of my puppet friends, we love Puppet Master.
Well, I would think so, yes.
But where did the idea of killer puppets come from? Because I'm telling you, any kind of a talking toy scares the bejesus out of me.
I can imagine, yeah, me too. Actually, the very initial concept, the title was Charles Bands.
All right.
Who was formerly head of Empire Pictures, and then he was just starting Full Moon. But if you look at a lot of the movies Charlie had done prior to that, ghoulies, dolls, and so forth. So it was like, okay,
natural progression.
Yeah, small things, killing
kill you.
Yeah, exactly. It was. Well, I mean, literally, I remember he's initially telling me about the idea. They said, okay, the killers in this film are going to be small, like 15 inches tall. I go, oh, you mean like ghoulies? And he goes, no, no, they're not living demons or anything. They're
carved like dolls.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. They're carved out of wood. And I said, oh, like dolls. And he goes, no, they're not dolls. They're puppets. And they go, oh, yeah. Had no idea I was even ribbing him on that one.
Well, just between you and me, there's a big difference between dolls and puppets.
Well, obviously, dolls at least shouldn't move.
Right. Yeah, right.
Although sometimes they do.
Puppets should move.
Should move.
Yeah. Okay. How did you make the transition from makeup effects to special effects fabricator?
Basically it was an evolution, although I broke into the business doing makeup effects, but ironically it was my foam fabrication skills, which I honed back in Florida. It was easier to get the materials and less expensive to get rolls of sheet foam and find ways of gluing it together.
Right.
My brother and friends did a Godzilla suit. The first full suit I made was a replica of the Metal in a Mutant from this island Earth.
Okay.
And then it actually won first prize at a convention in Houston where Rick Baker was the judge.
Oh.
Got to meet Rick back there. And before he was as well known as he is now, we knew him from with magazines and stuff, but he wasn't like an Oscar winner or a household name yet.
All right.
It was he's very cool and very approachable. So anyway, but yeah, I came out here and I figured, even though my ultimate goal was to write and direct and produce, I figured the easiest way, because I'd done a lot of stuff, a lot of fabrication and makeup and things like that. So that's how I broke in. And like there was a period where in the 80s I started writing and directing and so forth, but then the independent market dried up for a while, and I found myself back in effects. And then that was in the early 90s, and then by 95 I wound up saying, hell, I'm making more money on effects than I am doing writing and so forth, so I actually started my own company.
Total Fabrications Inc.
Yeah, that is great. Total Fabrication singular. Actually, that's okay.
Singular.
Yeah, singular. Total Fabrication. So it was it was one of those things if you told me years before I was going to be doing it and doing it now for 22 years, I wouldn't have believed you. It just was not. But I have made a movie since then, actually.
What's it?
Yeah, it came out in 2005, so it's 12 years old. The Halfway House. Yeah, we had Mary Warrenoff, who's like from Eating Raoul and Rock and Roll High School and so forth, playing an evil nun. And it's kind of all things Roger Corman. It's not seriously scary. It's more fun and kind of an 80s style horror with lots of sex and nudity. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
My kind of film.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So anyway, so that and people ask me, do you want to do more movies? Of course, I want to do more movies.
Yeah.
But
who wouldn't?
Yeah, it's just a matter of finding the opportunity with the independent market. So we're now everything's like streaming, whereas when we did that was like towards the end of the DVD boom and all that. And even with Blu-ray now, physical media is more for like collectors. It's more of a niche thing. It's not like selling hundreds of thousands of units to all these stores like that you say. So it's different. And with streaming and everything, I honestly don't know how a producer can, even with all the different markets, put it all together in a way people see their money back. And I do see a lot of these movies being made. They're turning up on Netflix and Amazon and stuff like that. I honestly don't know if the people who made them are seeing a dime off of it. I don't know.
I want to ask you about Ed Wood. The octopus. How did you get tapped to fabricate the octopus in Ed Wood?
Well, I had been fabricating a variety of large things at that point. The first one was the big T-Rex prop for Carnosaur.
Oh, Roger Corman's.
Carnosaur. And then I'd actually done some odds and ends on some of Burton's other films. I was a background penguin puppeteer on Batman Returns, and I'd done some foam fab work on Cabin Boy, and I was freelancing. This is before I started Total Fabricator. So I was freelancing for a company called Soda Effects, and they said they'd been approached to do an octopus, and they, to try to sculpt and mold something that big, in the time allowed, that was not, possible. So they said that they wanted me to foam fabricate it.
Wow.
I think we wound up doing it. I mean, there was a lot of talk back and forth, but I think by the time I did it, I can't remember if I did it in 1 or 2 weeks.
Wow.
It was a short turnaround on that.
Wow.
But anyway, so that was the thing. Ironically enough, somebody, I think they were reviewing a movie I wrote called Nightmare Sisters, and somebody, the reviewer, actually compared me to Ed Wood.
Man.
I wasn't sure how to take that. But frankly, I find Ed Wood, he was so sincere and just so way off base, but his movies are entertaining, and there are a lot of movies out there that I find, especially
are not entertaining
at all. And the worst thing you can do is bore people.
Exactly.
You might, if you do something that winds up not being interpreted as how you want it to be and make people laugh at it, at least you're entertaining. In Halfway House, for example, we were deliberately trying to get laughs, although I wasn't playing it obviously like a comedy. So sometimes it takes the audience a little while of watching it to see, this is funny. Oh, okay.
It's okay to laugh at this.
Yes, exactly.
What was the most difficult foam fabrication project you've had?
It's usually the next one coming up for me. It's like I've got a great new crew working for me, and I said, no matter how many thousands of these things we do, it's there's always some kind of a challenge. And sometimes the challenge is fun. Okay, we've made an onion costume before, now we have to make a green onion. Well, that's not too much of a stretch. But then there's other times that we're looking at it going, oh my God, why are we having to reinvent the wheel yet another time, and
or the onion.
But anyway, difficult ones. I mean, actually, recently we did a teapot for Rebel Wilson for the MTV Awards. They were doing a Beauty and the Beast thing, and she was Mrs. Potts. And we had to make, and the pot she was wearing was about 4 feet in diameter.
Whoa.
Yeah, so, and we had to make a piece of foam look like a shiny ceramic thing. And that got scary, but we worked it out.
Fantastic. Wow. Okay, so what makes a good scary film to you? Because you've written, Puppet Master.
I think the challenge with that, and this goes back to a lot of films I grew up on, where they're relying more on suspense and build up rather than just say jumping out and give you a quick scare. It goes back to Hitchcock. It's like saying, 2 men are sitting at a table talking about baseball, and all of a sudden, boom, the bomb goes off and kills them both. And, that's a moment of fright. But he said, what happens when you got the 2 men sitting at a table talking about baseball, and the audience knows there's a bomb underneath the table ticking away, and in 5 minutes it's going to go off and kill everybody. And that's how he defined suspense versus shock or scare. I remember seeing him interviewed a lot in his later years when I was a teenager on the local PBS channel, and I wonder what happened to those tapes, because I think Charles Champlin was involved in it, and it was like going to film school.
Master class,
and it was some amazing stuff, and hearing it straight from his mouth, I mean, I'd heard later on, I read similar things in interviews with him, but to hear him on camera talking about, film theory, basically. It's like, so I think, I mean, it's like setting up a situation where, the audience thinks something can happen or has a little bit of knowledge over and above what the characters do.
Right,
Audience.
yeah.
I heard it once described in the film class as audience superiority, where the audience knows something that the characters don't, and that I think it makes it more interactive than just like, say, it's like walking through a haunt where every few moments somebody jumps out at you, and it's like, I mean, and frankly, I don't like that kind of scare myself. I prefer something that's got mood and atmosphere, and God forbid, maybe characters that people actually care about, rather than just, let's just see how many people, we can do on the body count. It's like, so that's my thing. And personally, I also like to put a lot of humor in my stuff.
Right. What are you working on now?
Well, I have a script. I don't want to say the title because it kind of gives a lot away. But I've got a script that I wrote as a feature that I really, really want to do. It's a very dark, humorous thing.
I like it already.
Yeah, and basically deals with the subject of motherhood and parenthood and stuff like that.
Do you have a part for a young puppet?
You never know, But right now, what I've got to do is figure out, how to get it made. And one thing that has been suggested to me, because so much stuff now is going towards the series mentality. A lot of the cable networks and even the streaming networks, are doing original content, original shows.
Right.
It's not my orientation. I'm more of a feature guy. I like to watch a movie beginning, middle, and end. I don't want to go to the continuing story and you have to watch every single episode in the order, But that's the way things are going, and I did look at this particular project and say, okay, it can be done this way. It's just, again, a matter of finding somebody who wants to do it. So.
I want to do it. I want to do it.
Well, how much money you got on you?
I kind of left my wallet in my other pants.
Yeah, I don't even see your pants, but anyway.
Jeez, Kenneth, it's not that kind of an interview, folks. I'm serious.
The pants off, dance off.
Oh boy!
All right.
Wow, man, it just took a left turn right up. Jeez. Well, geez, Kenneth, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been Flick from the Nerd Soapbox. And let's see who else we can scare up at sound of Monster. Palooza. Yeah, it's better when you do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll
every time a bell rings, a monster gets his wings.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard that somewhere.
Yeah. All right, so about this script here, a part for a small puppet, it's about this tall, handsome, good-looking,
I think about it, yeah.
with a little,
good looking.
little facial hair.